Hello, everybody. It's Tyler. Welcome to the second episode of the Life Project. I wanted to first off, before we get into the topics that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to thank you guys for the support on the last episode, the first episode of the project. It means a lot to me. It really does. Um, and I know it's like a big. It's gonna take time to get used to that type of content or this type of content. Um, because you're not really used to seeing me do that or do this type of content. So I wanted to thank everybody who likes I guess the idea of this series. It really does mean a lot to me. This is a series that I've had planned for months. So it means a lot that you guys are liking it. And one more thing before we get into the video. I recorded this a night or two ago, and when I first recorded it, I remember that night laying in bed and just thinking, I didn't really say what all I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. So now I'm here re-recording it, and this might get delayed until Wednesday. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try and get it up Tuesday, maybe. So, anyways, let's just get into it. So, what I mainly wanted to talk about this week is depression. Um, Depression is something that people have. Not all people, but a lot of people have depression. Depression isn't something that you can just get rid of. Depression always stays with you, and if not always, then for a good bit, it stays with you. And depression is something that I have. In fact, I've had depression for a long time. I've had depression for about 3 or 4 years. In fact, I think it's 4 years. I remember how it all came to be was I had just found out that my grandmother got cancer. She got lung cancer. And I remember that kind of affected me, but not at the time. Like, I want to say I found out this around midway through 7th grade. So by the end of 7th grade, 7th or 8th, I don't really remember. Years have been just going by so fast that I can't really remember. But I remember it did take a toll after a while. It wasn't really as bad as, sometimes. It's like when I first kind of thought that I had depression, it wasn't as bad as some people have it, you know? I just really got sad all the time. Now, there was one instance in 7th or 8th grade, I don't remember, that, a friend had been joking around about something, and I just got sick of it, and I pretty much said that this is the reason that I feel like, or this is pretty much the reason why I want to kill myself at the time. And I said that to this person, and thankfully they told the guidance or counselor, the guidance counselor, or something like that. I don't really remember. But so they told this person, and later that day I got called into the guidance office or whatever, and they just kind of talked to me about stuff, and I told them what had been going on with my grandmother and everything. And I didn't really talk to that friend for a long time. In fact, we recently started talking again. And so these past few years have been bad and good. Bad in a sense of me and depression, but good as I'm learning a lot of new things. I want to say that my depression, at the lowest that it's been, has 100% has to be 2 years ago, when my grandmother, who had cancer, was rushed to the hospital. And so we went to the hospital that night, and I had been feeling like I was sick that whole day. And so we all kind of had that realization that this is probably the last time that we're gonna be able to see her. And so we all had our time with her and said our last, things. In fact, one of the last things that I remember saying to her was, "I love you," and she responded to me. She said, "I love you too." And at that point, it's like a bit of relief kind of hit me. Because I didn't want her passing away without me saying, "I love you." And I did, and I really wasn't expecting a response, but I'm glad that I got one. So after that, everyone came back into the room, and my dad said, "Do you want to go home?" I said yes, because I was getting sick, and if there was any chance of my grandmother surviving, I didn't want her to get sick. So I left. That night I remember just being so emotionally drained, and so I went to bed. I woke up the next morning, and as I usually do, I checked Facebook. At the time I did. And I remember seeing this post that said, that had my grandma's name, and pretty much had said that she passed away. And I remember just, feeling so distant from everything. I felt like I didn't really feel anything. That's the thing. It's like I was sad, but it's like I was so cold that I didn't really feel anything. I guess it was, in a sense, I was in shock at that she had passed away, and that the way that I found out was through social media. And even today, that still affects me. And so that's kind of where it's been the lowest for me being depressed, with my depression. So, so that's that definitely has to be where my lowest has been. Um, and so, let's see. And so this friend um, that I had, pretty much lashed out against, recently she's asked me, like, how have I been? In fact, in the beginning of this school year of 10th grade, I remember one of the first days she came up to me, and I'm not gonna say her name because that's private, pretty much. But I remember she came up to me and she said, "How are you, Tyler?" I said, "Good." And she said, "How are you on the inside?" And I said, "I'm fine." And it really did it it makes me feel better about things if somebody comes up to me and asks, like, how I am, especially when they ask, "How are you on the inside?" And that really did mean a lot to me because prior prior to that, nobody has ever done that. Um, Now there have been times where somebody's asked me how I am, and I've said fine when that was a lie. But it really does mean a lot to me when somebody comes up to me to ask how I am. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that this friend that I lashed out against, me and her still talk. I'm grateful for that. And I really wanted to say this. If you are suffering from depression, especially like if you're sad right now, if something has happened in your life, please, I can't stress this enough, please talk to someone. Because you're not alone. There's millions of other people that suffer from depression. Um in fact, I'm going to link my Instagram down below. If you're somebody who has depression and is watching this, whether you see this video months from when it releases, or if it blows up for some reason, or even if it doesn't, I just want people to know that I'm here to talk. So my Instagram's going to be linked down below. And you can add me, and if you need to talk about something, please DM me, and I'll reply as quickly as I can. Now if you don't want to text about it, I can understand. If you really need to have someone to actually talk to, then there's going to be a hotline down below that you can call. Because depression isn't really a joke. Um, sure, at least some point in everyone's life, we've joked about depression, but when we look at it as when we look at it with all seriousness, it's it's really scary. It is. So that's kind of why I'm doing this, is to talk about it seriously. Um because depression can drive someone to kill themselves. To make them do stupid things, whether that be drink or lead them into doing drugs. Depression can lead people to do things that people don't even realize that they're doing, or it can lead them to do stuff that they don't know is bad for them. Now, to this day, depression, or at least my depression, it has never led me down to like do any drugs or drink or anything. But now when I mean drugs, I mean cocaine, weed, all of that stuff. Now, I will say that there was one instance where I guess drugs were involved. I There was a moment where I was really upset. In fact, this was probably the second hardest time that I've had with my depression. I'd been taking acetaminophen. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I was taking acetaminophen. Is what it's called. But on the street, it's known as Percocets. I had been taking a couple of those a day, and it really it helped. But after a while, I realized that they weren't good for me. There was one time where somebody said that you look a bit, skinnier. And that's kind of when I took a step back and realized what I was doing. And I remember the last thing doing, I had given up all hope at this time, and so I asked someone out. And that was the greatest decision of my life, because they really helped me. As much as I didn't show it, they really did help me. Now, of course, that relationship is done with. And yes, I've been sad about it, but I have not been depressed about it. I'm on good terms with the person. And so everything with that is fine. And I just wanted to thank them for giving me a chance and for really helping me. In fact, I want to thank all of my friends for helping me. Because there are times that I put on a fake mask, per se, to make myself look better. Sorry if my voice cracks. I'm sick. Uh, so that's gonna affect my voice. Kinda like that. So once again, I wanted to thank those friends and family around me that cheer me up. And I think with that, I think that's where I'm going to end this episode. I think I finally got everything that I wanted to say into one video. I should be doing the duo episodes after this. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited about that. And once again, for those who are struggling with depression, please talk to someone, talk to me, or even call the number down below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next episode of The Life Project.